What's the unsolved mystery in your local area? A lady was stabbed 27 times while locked in her apartment. The boyfriend was banging on her door for her to let him in while it was happening. She was heard screaming. There were no signs of forced entry or exit. No fingerprints on the knife. No traces of anyone else in the apartment. No nothing. The case was ruled as a suicide but recently opened back up because they skipped over some details or something like that. 25 years ago, 6 teenage boys went missing in my hometown. They were all around 16 to 17 years old, I believe. They went out drinking, went to the marina, and apparently stole a boat. That boat and the 6 boys were never seen again. Never found. The families never heard from them again. Bodies, clothing, nothing ever surfaced. They just disappeared without a trace, all 6 of them. A girl I went to school with went missing in the woods. There's a Crime Watch daily special on it. Molly Miller was her name. I remember when I realized she went missing. I always thought she was really pretty in school. Blue eyes and sleek black hair, and she said hi to me when I was new, and I just thought that was so sweet. I moved to Texas the next year and happened to see her face on the board at Walmart. I was like, that looks like Molly. Then it was, unfortunately. This was about 10 years ago, and no one has heard from her, and there is still no answers. There was a house fire in Platte, South Dakota, about an hour from my hometown. Okay, but the whole family died in it. Mom, dad, 4 children. At first they thought, what a tragedy, and then they assumed that the dad shot everyone as there were bullet wounds in each person. Then set the house on fire, then killed himself. Cue the news and a very good news anchor investigating the whole thing. She was getting deep into what happened and found out the dad and mom were embezzling money from an organization they were a part of to help Native American education. $1 million embezzled. Then, the police dove into some scattered security camera footage and saw a vehicle drive to and from the property in the wee hours of the night. Murder, suicide, or homicide. Said anchor was getting closer to solving the dang thing, and rumor has it, she ended up getting death threats and stopped all coverage. This would only have to be true because she had a special on it often, and there was just no closure on why they stopped looking into it. Not a peep about it since. There's a lot to this story, and I summed it up the best I could. Maybe I should try to find a Crime Junkies episode on it. Arlington, Texas, the Amber Hagerman abduction and murder. She's who the Amber Alert is named after. She was kidnapped by a white or Hispanic male with a black truck. Her body was found in a stream behind some apartments in North Arlington, and she was in the water long enough to wash away any forensic evidence. A quarter of a century later, it's still unsolved. My hometown has Mark Heimball. The kid went to watch a brush fire, was seen passing through a local park and never made it home. Everyone and their mother went out looking for him, assuming he was just lost. By the time they realized he had to have been kidnapped, it was too late to find a trail or close the roads out of the area. There's never been any trace of him found. A young woman's body was found behind a local fire station off a main highway that runs to Myrtle Beach. She was supposed to be visiting her dad and did make it to and be from Florida, but never made it to see him. A golf cart rental company denied her service because, according to the employee, she was acting strange. For reasons unknown, she headed back the way she came without seeing her father after she just drove about 10 hours to visit him. Her dad eventually called the cops because she didn't show. Her car was found burned off of a desolate dirt road near my childhood home, an hour outside of Myrtle. Eyewitness said they saw a man running away from the burning car and getting into an SUV with what was assumed to be a second perpetrator. The police say that her death resulted from falling off the water tower behind the station, but the entire case is so bizarre. I hope they find real answers for her family because there are so many factors not adding up. The disappearance of Kyron Horman. If you're anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, I'm sure you've heard the name. He disappeared in 2010, and even though the stepmother was highly suspected, no evidence was ever found. They still hold events, and I've seen a billboard or 2 around in recent years. Hopefully one day they find his remains and bring some closure to his family. Missing infant Christopher Abita, who vanished on July 15, 1986 from Colorado Springs. His family believed a woman named Emma Bradshaw was involved in the baby's disappearance, and she sued them and won $150,000 in damages in preventing her from being employed. The Colorado Springs Police Department destroyed some of the evidence sometime after the infant's disappearance, which is quite effed up. Sadly, there are no suspects, and both of his parents are dead, but his siblings continue to hope he is still alive, and continue to search for him.